or something, it makes this beautiful pattern. It just made this beautiful pattern. And all we have to do when we really want to catch fish is we go to the line and we just follow that pattern. And the neat thing is when we finally got the fish finder, we looked at like, oh, we're taking a lot of strikes on such and such a ledge or the 20-foot ledge. Anyway, so yeah, that's the way that thing went. Like we said, like everything gets wet, yeah. So like everything, we torture test. So my phone is a waterproof phone from Casio. The only problem is when we're talking to people while we're on the water, we actually do quite a bit. The speaker gets filled with water, so I got this little neoprene thing. And I just cover it, so it covers up that little section. So my phone is fine. It came in real handy because we hooked 2 marlins, we landed 1. When we landed the second one, we didn't know what to do. So we called our friend, the Jedi Master, Danford Hong, and we said, Danford, what do we do now? And he's like, oh, call me back when you guys landed. I'm like, yeah, well, how are we going to land it or whatever? So we're just on the phone this whole time. People found out from, I don't know, through the grapevine. People are like calling us up. Hey, we heard you guys have a marlin on and all this stuff. And we're like, yeah. And then, but we've never been able to catch a second one. Unlike Hoala, who's sitting back there with the black hat. You know. Hoala caught 2 in 2 weeks. What? So he's a pretty serious guy. And he's on a little paddle Super Pro because he wants to be manly like that.
So as you were saying about the neoprene cases, even our VHF sits in a little koozie over here. And then the good thing about our VHF is that it has a little beacon button, right? Is that
the emergency button.
So we can just click it and it will send our emergency signal out.
We flip up the little flap and you press it and it sends your GPS mark to the Coast Guard. I guess first they'll call whoever we put on that card that we mailed in originally. And then, but then they'll have their GPS mark. The only thing is not like an EPIRB that continuously sends out your information, your GPS mark. So they'll just send it at one time that I press it. So I guess if I really wanted to, I just keep pressing it.
And in the case that that might not work, we have more safety equipment in our safety bag, always stored in the hatch. And let's see.
We have our little makeshift first aid kit. I vacuum seal everything. I vacuum seal our bait. I vacuum seal our safety stuff. I love that. I love my vacuum seal. Emergency streamer. You guys have ever seen this? It's pretty cool. It's kind of long, you know. And if you ever seen the ads for it, the cool thing about it is they show somebody in the water without the streamer and somebody with the streamer, and you can see the streamer from quite a distance away. We have our smoke flare. We actually have the little parachute flare too. Bert gave us a parachute flare. We have our little flashlight. We have a new 2 little flashlights for our PFDs also. It's just flasher, flashlight. What else does it do? Catches fish for you. Anyway, so our battery is dead. See how good this safety is. Anyway, so it gives off a pretty bright flash.
And then of course, rope.
You always need rope. For some reason or other, you're gonna catch a fish that's too big for your kayak. What are you gonna do with it, right? You need rope. If you guys ever saw the pictures of Paul and them too, you get your rope, tie that all the way to the side of your kayak, and you paddle them in. Because we didn't have this when we caught the marlin. We had a regular paddle kayak too, and we paddled it in. The first one we lost was really sad because it ended up towing us out to around 7.5 miles out, about 3 or 4 miles down the coast, and then it came up right next to the kayak. The tail was slamming the side of the kayak right next to me. The tip of the tail was taller than my shoulder, but I couldn't reach the base of the tail or anything. And he was head down, still fighting, and then we couldn't get him up. And all of a sudden, the leader just popped, and the fish came up next to us, looked at us, swam next to us for a little while, and they just turned and then went away. So it was, I guess you would consider it a catch and release in some places, but in Hawaii, if you don't eat it, you didn't catch it.
The rope, man, the rope, not only is it good for like landing a big fish, but it's also a great safety item, right? The rope is like, definitely I carry a rope every time I go out kayaking, every time I guide. If you ever have to get towed in, if you don't have a rope, then the boat can't help you out there. So definitely having a rope is a good safety feature. I always carry 50 feet of rope with me every time I go out.
Do you carry an anchor?
We have an anchor, but we don't always bring it with us. Because if we're fishing deep water, it's useless. We have a drift chute. I didn't bring it to. Well, actually, it's inside the. It's inside the. Oh, it's not in the truck. Oh, it's not in the truck.
One thing about the anchor thing, like a lot of guys, okay, you carry an anchor all the time, Bert?
Yeah.
As a safety feature?
For safety, because sometimes, like, I'm out there for 6 hours, I come back and where I entered the water, I come back, and the waves are huge. So it's like, or you know, my luck, my Mirage drive will break, or my rudder pin will break, and I'm just drifting into those big overhead surfs. So I throw out my anchor, fix my Mirage drive. I carry all the tools to overhaul my Mirage drive, and my rudder pins and stuff like
anchor, you know, a lot of people like Bert feel that's it's a must-have type of safety feature. So they make some real nice small ones that are the foldable ones that are not that very heavy and easy to deploy. A drift chute, like these guys always carry a drift chute, not only for a big game, but a drift chute will also help slow the drift down in a situation. I guess those are the two main things that people carry anchor or drift chute for is emergency situation. Those are things to consider. The drift chute kind of is multi-purpose. It will slow you down on a fish and it will slow you down if you're in a storm situation and trying to slow your drift down.
that. Oh, plus I dive off my AI too. So.
I only carry an anchor when I think I'm going to anchor up, you know, but I usually have something I can drift shoot with and slow my drift down.
So,
Marlin Master?
What do you guys do your fish bag? 100 pounds? A lot of ice.
we have a 6-foot fish bag that we usually strap onto the.
Oh, like the one they sell, the rectangle.
Yeah, the rectangle one.
Oh, it's a big boy.
So yeah, it's a 6-foot fish bag. We have that smaller one that fits in the hatch over here, that little pie-shaped one. But you can't really fit too much fish in that thing. Yeah? It doesn't really it doesn't hold as well. And then when we're on this, it's really neat because the zipper's on this side next to guard. So do we land the fish? We get the fish to guard. Boom, right there. Yeah, I bleed the fish. Tuck them away in the ice. Our fish comes in cherry. When we come in, our fish is cherry.
I personally like to, for icing, I freeze blocks of ice. They last longer for me than putting a bag of ice in it. A bag of ice for me out there on a long day suits them out pretty quick. So I like to have a couple of blocks of ice. I usually will freeze like half-gallon milk containers or juice containers. If you put that in there with a bag of ice, it will definitely last a lot longer. When I went with Joe to Molokai, I had that one block of ice, and that thing like lasted us 3 days. Remember, that kept like all our food to the very end. So a block of ice definitely lasts a lot longer than bags of ice.
One thing I learned from Kevin was I started packing 1 and 2 liter bottles of Mountain Dew, but now I fill it up with water, freeze it, so it acts as inside my fish cooler. Plus, if the day's too long, I ran out of Gatorade or whatever or Mountain Dew. I got water to drink. What's that?
There's health hazards involved with freezing water in jugs like that, and to drink them.
Too fast or?
No, there's chemical reactions for the plastics that are made to the freezing process and then go back to liquid. So when you do that, you really have to have a container that's made to do that if you're going to drink it.
Right.
But then frozen, they help. Definitely frozen anything will help the ice last longer. But I wouldn't not freeze that.
Yeah, we do keep about a dozen frozen bottles of water in our bag. That's another one of those secrets. Because the ice was gonna melt and you would have to go fish.
800 pounds. And where did it all go?
Yeah, but yeah, we do. We pack up 100 pounds of ice. We kind of find the ice, that's why. We don't buy it. If we had to buy it, no more 100 pounds of ice. We used to fish mainly for papios, lulas, and stuff, but now we rarely keep them. Now we tag and release them. All the data goes in. We finally got our first
shirt.
Tagged. No, we didn't even get a shirt. We finally got our first tagged lure that we caught. Somebody actually caught it. It was free for 150 something days. According to the people who caught its measurement, it shrank. Yeah, it shrank like an inch or something. It shrank an inch or something, but then when they looked, when the state people looked at the data, they said for the length, it was like way heavier than it should have been. It was a
Fat boy.
yeah, it was a fat one. And then, if you go to our YouTube channel, you will see us releasing that. That's that same fish that we released on our YouTube channel. And yeah, so it was kind of neat. We did go out recently to film for a television show called Extreme Fishing. It's Extreme Fishing with Robson Green. They only had one day to film. And we had to scramble to get things. And thanks to Joe, we had a support boat. Thanks to the Kialanas, we had a lifeguard. And we gave it a run, even if the conditions were, what would you call it? Horrible. Horrible. There was the conditions were so bad that day. There's gusts to like 40 knots. And we're going out there, and they didn't want Robson to die because he's the star of the show. I don't think they cared if we died, just as long as Robson didn't die. But we told Robson, like, it's no problem. With the TI, it's so stable. It's such an awesome crab. There would be no problem. So here we go. We jump on. Robson's sitting on top of the trampoline. It's so terrible, the weather, that nobody else was at Oekai Boat Ramp. That's how bad it was. There was no other boats going out besides Joe's boat. I shouldn't say that now because now Joe goes, oh no, you guys can never use our boat again. But anyway, the beautiful thing about it is we took the glass can out. If you guys have never seen it, it's an amazing, amazing, amazing boat. So that boat we had no worries about. This boat we had no worries about. So we went out, we started sailing out, we start pretty much flying out of the Hawaii Kai boat ramp. Our support boat leaves us so that they can film us zooming out of the harbor area. And when they left us, this gust came and snapped our mast. And the people at Hobie told us, oh, that's what, because you guys are supposed to reef the sail. But we don't believe in reefing the sail. We believe in opening it up. It's like having a race car and not pushing the gas pedal, you know? So we didn't reef it. It was a bad idea because we had already pushed this kayak into some pretty extreme situations. And so we ended up snapping the sail, snapping the mast. No problem. Garrett gets out, takes the mast, rolls it up, bungees it to the Akka supports because that's what we did the last time, right? When we had problems, you just roll it up. We just kept pedaling. The crew panics. They're like, we have to go back in and recruit. We're like, why? We can just keep fishing. But they're freaked. Robson is a little bit scared. We're kind of laughing about it. And then so we had to pedal all the way back in, put the mast on our truck, tell him, look, see, everything is fine. And so we actually took the guy out fishing again. The weather got so bad after that. We're about a mile and a half, 2 miles out at that time that we couldn't see Diamond Head because the island got grayed out. We couldn't see really an island or Diamond Head or anything, which was kind of funny to me too. And then there's a couple times where Robson actually was like, "Oh, hang on, guys!" And he's from England, right? So he has this accent. He's like, "Hang on, guys!" And we look back, and there's a wave, you know, maybe about, I don't know, so big, I don't know. But I looked back, I told him, don't worry. This wave comes, washes over us. And then so after that, he's not panicking anymore. The only problem is we didn't catch any fish. But it's going to make for a wonderful episode. And when it comes out, we'll probably have that out on Facebook and